So we're back here. We have our HTML page. Not a very interesting one here. So here's, I don't know, home page and home. It's kind of silly. That's fine. We have our stocks page. So that's in our web pages, and then we have source packages. We're going to add a new package here. Add a servlet. We'll add it in the stocks package. We'll call this one stocks. So we're going to set up the servlet. That'll be our controller here. And yes, we want to add in the information. This one's really important. You don't want to do this by hand. You can edit web XMLs by hand. It's just really obnoxious too. I'm running out of my fluids here. All right. So here we have our stock servlet then. Right, again, not anything super interesting, but we can add a link then here if we wanted. So add a little href to /stocks. Will take us to the stocks servlet. Okay, and did we fire up? Oh, that's right. We don't even need to start Tomcat. I forgot with XAMPP. So once NetBeans knows about it and we hit start, it's going to go and start Tomcat for us because we set it up. That's right. You could stop it from XAMPP if you want to, but that's we can do pretty much everything we need from NetBeans here. Let's see what we get here. Yep, test and test should work for that manager. And assuming we've got everything up and running, I think by this point, I'm assuming you all had your servers up and running with no issues. We go to the stocks servlet. Oops, that's right, not /stocks. We wanted just stocks because this is the local. So /stocks takes us back to localhost /stocks. Now it will take us to relative to a stocks location here. So here's our servlet. Yeah, nothing super interesting yet here, but now we're starting to build out our servlet. Now, what we want to do here is we want to list a bunch of stocks. And again, we'll get to what we want to do with all those in a little bit here. But to have the view set up, we're going to come to our web pages and we're going to add a new Java server page, a JSP. We'll call this one stocks. Okay, it's going to be the regular JSP file. So we finish this one up. And we can put it in a views folder or something you wanted to at this point, but that's okay. So in JSP, it is the bracket %sign to start a code block is our syntax here, instead of the question mark for PHP. Okay, so that's our syntax. So this is a JSP comment. And just like we saw with PHP comments, they don't come through the web server. Right? HTML comments come through. JSP comments don't. PHP comments don't. So we're not going to return any of this to the user here. But now we can see this is our page here. Has a nice little everything. And we can do a similar sort of approach. So, okay, I guess we should make a folder. We'll make a folder for views here. And then inside our views folder, let's make one for header. Okay, and then let's make another view for the footer. So it's our idea, you can kind of piecemeal these things together here. We can start building headers and footers as we go. Now, I'm just going to go copy paste because I'm shameless here and I don't want to have to reinvent the wheel and come up with what we did before. So let's go see what our existing header and footers had. And we'll probably do a similar thing here. We want the header file, header file here. So essentially, and we'll add in the rest of the links here in a little bit. And we're not going to have this PHP code block. We're doing that here, so we don't have the login stuff. We'll get to logins later here, and we don't need a log out then. And actually, don't really need a whole lot of any other links at the moment here. So how about we do stocks. And this is just our stocks page. Could also add a reference to the index page if we wanted to, but I think just going back to stocks should be fine. This is stocks. Welcome to our docs. Sure, why not? This is the header here that we can include in the rest of our application. I saved that in footer, didn't I? I did the wrong thing. Let's put that in header like I meant to. There we go. And then in the footer, then let's go copy it off our footer here. Let's do footer. Let's find our footer file. Add in a little footer here. In the footer file. Now we don't need to, we can't use this PHP code block, so if we wanted to get a Java code block, right, that's percent sign here. And I'm just going to Google it because I don't remember the syntax. So JSP current date, current year. Well, so we get full year. Is that what we want? Guru99.com. That sounds legit. So we can just include today's date. We don't want the whole date, right? We just want just the year, right? All right, so we want the date. Come on. Okay, that's fine. So to add something, right, we're going to use this percent equals here, and then we'll end the block here. What we want to put in here is a new java.util.date, and we need some parentheses here so we get the date first, and then we want date property. Come on. I'm in the wrong spot. Come on. Dot year. Get year? No, it's an int. Might be the right version. Calendar.get year. Okay. Calendar.get. All right, let's try that then. Calendar dot. Come on. Date.toString. I don't want the entire date. Get the current year, and that's JavaScript. We don't want JavaScript. That was the wrong link to click. Print the current date and time. Get the current year in JavaScript. Format a date in JSP. Current year. And a drop down. My goodness. Why is this so hard here? .util.calendar. Calendar. Dot. No, what? Whoa. Dot. Calendar dot. Where's our calendar? Yeah, we want to use calendar. Get year. Will not get year. It doesn't like get year. Didn't like that one either. Oh my goodness. Okay. Date. Get year. It says we should use the other version here. Calendar.get. Okay, can we do calendar.get? Calendar.get. Calendar.year. Doesn't like .get either. It lied. It lied. I don't want the builder. Year. Okay, come on. Java. Calendar get year. All of this just to get our copyright. This is silly. I'm sorry. Get year from a date. It's not worth it. It's really not going to be worth it here. That's date. I don't want calendar. It says I should use calendar. Get year and calendar. There we go. Calendar.get instance. Calendar.setTime to the date. Oh my goodness, that's really ugly. Forget that. Forget that. We'll just use date. Get year and see what happens. We'll just see what happens, okay? Because that's nonsense. That was no fun here. All right. So then if we want to include our header and footer, inside of our page here, we're going to, where's our notation here? Oh, okay, so we could copy off the book if we wanted to. We'd have to import a couple things. I suppose we could. The Gregorian calendar, the calendar get year. That's fun. Where to go here? We wanted to include our pages. Goodness. That's where it is. Okay, there we go. So to do this then, we need to use our tag library. So there's a line we need here inside of our main page that says, hey, I want to use this C JSTL tag library. We're going to call it C because it's the core library. So JSTL is the Java Standard Template Library for JSP. All sorts of cool things we can do in here. To use it, though, we need to come to libraries, and we need to add a library for the JSTL. JSTL. So we need to tell NetBeans we want to use the library. Then every page, we say, import the library, please, with this, and we're going to call it C notation here. Then I can start using that library to start adding some imports here. So in my page, then I don't need head, right? I think we even started, we started the body here too. We don't need to start the body. All we need to do is include, nope, that didn't copy right. So we do this C import to say, hey, we're going to import the URL of, we want views / header.jsp. That will import the header for us, and then we don't need to, do we need to end the body? I think, nope, we don't need to end the body either. So we can import the footer when we're done. Oops, sorry, slash. It's a single open and close command. So we'll import this URL from the views page. Grab the header. Import the header or the footer here as well. And nothing super interesting yet. So this is the stocks JSP that we can get to. So if we run our project, right, we can link to the stocks servlet, or we also have stocks.jsp we could go to. Let's see if that'll load for us. Come on, stocks.jsp. Oh, it's still thinking about it. There we go. It's thinking real hard. There we go. So welcome to our awesome stocks. Is the link here we put a nav right back to the servlet here. Awesome copyright. Oh, 122. Okay, so we did not work here for the date. Go figure. We'll go steal what the book did then, because right, that's why you have a reference. So let's see if we can't get our book here. Let's try this for our footer. That date was no good. Yeah, we don't want to import calendar. Nope. Okay, come on, copy. I don't have to type it all. So here's our import. We'll import the Gregorian calendar and the Java util calendar. And then in a code block, we can set up a current date using the Gregorian calendar, getting the current date.get the calendar.year. Then we can add our copyright and just output the current year here. We don't need to do anything else. Right? Similar, we'll do our code block stuff up at the top. This is probably prettier here. And then we just output. So this is like the echoes, right? Percent equals is similar to our echo. It's going to just take whatever we put here and just spit it out into the HTML. Let's give that a save and see if I can reload my page now. Now notice all I had to do was save the page, because when you request the JSP, nothing needs to compile. The web server is going to grab that JSP and render it on demand, which is pretty cool. This is my awesome stocks app, or stocks site. Right? Awesome stocks site. my awesome stock site. There we go. There we go. Why not? So probably not an H1. Let's do an H2 here because that'll fit. Stocks. All right. And then just with the JSPs, I can just refresh, right? Because it's going to render them as it needs to. And sometimes it takes a second for that to happen. There we go. I know we get stocks. Now the link back to the servlet. So again, it's kind of annoying if you have to link right to JSPs. That's not ideal. So what we want to do is we want to grab these from our servlet and forward, or no, I'm sorry, not forward the request. We want to include those here. Let me grab that here. Where'd it go here? Sorry, I'm finding that where we turn to it, or we forward to it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we're going to, from our stocks servlet here, we don't need to do any of this outputting here, right? We don't even need the response writer here, or to set the content type. Right, all we need to do is get the servlet context, and we're going to call get RequestDispatcher. And where do we want to send it? We want to send it to stocks.jsp. Or again, we could like have that as a string for URL. Stocks.jsp, I think is what we were doing before. And then we just pass it the URL argument. And then from here, then we forward, given the request and the response. It's a little long there. Let's say we want to forward this request to our JSP to be the view. So our controller here, we're not doing anything. This is just the home page here. So this is the default home page here. And let's see if that one runs now. So with the servlet, we need to restart. Oh, there's errors. Where's the error? Oh, goodness. What's wrong with our page here now? Don't need a print writer. What did I do? I missed a semicolon? What's the error? Is this thing in here? Wow, I upset those. Did I add the wrong like semicolon? Oh, too many curly braces. That's what happened. How did I get a new curly brace there? Okay. Now it's happier, I think. That was really weird. Give me an extra curly brace. I don't know. All right, let's give that a run. That'll recompile our servlet. So the servlet is compiled code. We need to re-update that. Now, stocks, then the stock servlet. Oh, goodness. Stocks does not start with a slash character. Uh-oh, that's right. Slash stocks slash JSP. Is that what it was? Let's try that. Stocks. Nope. Slash stocks. Oh, sorry. The servlet context already knows it's in slash stocks. Because our servlet context that we're getting knows it belongs in the slash stocks context. One more try. One more try. There we go. Now we're hitting the servlet here, but it's actually giving us the JSP behind the scenes, which is really cool. So now we're setting the stage for the model, the view, and the controller. Right, so we've got a view set up, we've got a controller set up. Now we need to add some models. So what we're going to do for a model, we're going to add a Java class here. We're going to just call this stock. So a single stock here. It gets a little funny with the names, but it's okay. Now, one of the things we need to do, there's this thing called a Java bean. I know it sounds really funny, but we're going to make a Java bean is essentially a Java class that follows a couple rules. And we can use these beans to build things. So a couple rules about our beans is they need to have public get and set methods for all the attributes. We need to have a no argument constructor, and we need to implement a serializable interface. So we're going to have a stock. So we'll have a private string for the symbol. We'll have a private string for the name. And we'll have a private double for the, how about current price? of a stock, right? And that'll represent the current price of a stock. Okay, and then to implement that interface, we say we implements serializable. So remember, for serializable, you probably did this back in Java 2 if you took that or object-oriented programming in Java. Let me see if I can spell that right. Serializable. There we go. From the java.io library. This just means that you can essentially take it and put it into a format that can be saved on disk or transmitted here. For something to be serializable, all of its attributes must also be serializable. So if you're a class that has an attribute of another class, that class must be serializable as well. Otherwise, the serializing breaks. All the built-in Java types are already serializable. It works real nice. All right, so if we need all the gets and sets, we're going to go and insert some code for getters and setters. We need all of these to have getters and setters to make it a Java bean, public gets and sets, and then we need a constructor. We'll insert code for a constructor. Now you need a no argument constructor, but I'm also a fan of parameterized constructors. So let's also make a constructor. This one's not necessarily required for Java beans, but it just makes our life easier, that you can give me these values here and I'll take them. Okay, so now I have a Java bean class. Okay, right, the 3 rules. It has no argument constructor. It has public get and set methods for all attributes. And it implements serializable. There's also a externalizable, but I think serializable is the more common one here. So you could technically do the other one. There's also, a funny name for these called a POJO, also known as POJO, a plain old Java object. Right? Nothing interesting happening here. Right? It just stores some values, so we can have a bunch of values around here. So what we could do in our stocks controller here then is we could make an instance of stock. So I can say stock equals a new stock, and we can say, hey, let's look at GME here. Let's go see how GameStop is doing. They're the big one. It's not as fun as doing this last year when we did a stocks application, when that was the big hot thing. So GameStop Corp is their name, right? So there's the symbol, GameStop Corp is the name, and the current price is $142.17, right? And if you remember at all the hype from last year, right, this stock was going nuts. I think we need 5 years ago, it was a little rough. Can we do it like custom zoom? I don't think I can. That's a bummer. I want like a custom zoom. It went up to 300 at one point here. It had a wild ride. Can we? I think it's Yahoo Finance. GME. They had a decent viewer, believe it or not. I think it was Yahoo Finance had a decent viewer here, where we could go look at their price here. Yeah, let's do 1 year. It's like full screen. And I think then we can even update this too. I think we could update those dates. Yahoo still is a thing, believe it or not. I don't know who uses them. I've heard, I've looked at this viewer a little bit. It's got some interesting data here. I feel like we could zoom. Yeah, we can zoom out a little bit more. There we go. This is what we wanted. No, I don't want underlay. Zoom out. So here's where this nonsense happened. So most of 2020, right, their stock price is like $4 a share. People were worried, apparently, during the pandemic that they'd go out of business because no one was going to malls, and you can download games nowadays. So they don't have a lot of pull here. Okay, do you? Go, nice. They've got a cool portfolio tool. You can build a whole portfolio out and stuff. And then right around here, it started getting crazy. January, right? And then there was the giant hype here near the end of January. The price shot up to like 350 or something. It was insane. And then it tumbled back down to like 41 when some of that hype died off. You can see these green bars underneath is the volume. That means how many shares are being traded here, bought and sold, right? So tons of people were buying in at the hype and losing money here, because when you have the fear of missing out or FOMO, you're probably going to lose money. It's a powerful thing, but it will bite you. and then it dropped a ton, and it's peaked back up again, and then it dropped a bunch, and it's been up and down, up and down, up and down, but it's basically stayed above that mark for quite a while. So some people still really believe in GameStop as a stock. Anyway, that was our miscellaneous rabbit trail here. But we can make a stock object here. Then once we have an object, we can add it to our request. So we're going to say, hey, request.set attribute. We're going to say, hey, I'm going to set a stock, and I'm going to give it the stock instance. Once this request has an attribute here now in our view, we can go and list some things here. So let's make a table. Then we'll have a table header, a table row. Inside of that table row, we'll have a table header for the symbol. We'll end the table header. I know doing this is obnoxious, I'm sorry. And then we'll have no comments. No, stop that. Symbol, we'll have the name, we'll have the price. Price and name. And then we'll have another table row with our actual data. Now, to get this out, right, we need to be using this Java JSP expression language. So Java expression language is really cool. So if there's an attribute, now I can say right in my JSP, I can use this easier syntax of a $, and then curly braces. So I'll say stock.symbol. So $stock.symbol says, hey, go get the thing that's called stock in the attribute, an attribute called stock. Okay, and then I'm assuming there's a .symbol attribute. So when you take a Java bean, you get access to them without using the gets and sets. They're automatic, which is super cool. So we could do the slow Java code. So we'll do the expression language first, and then we'll do the slow one after. So you can kind of see the differences here. So stock.symbol, stock.name, stock.price. Okay, now let's give this one a run. I need more fluids. I'm out of everything. My goodness. Quite the collection of cans, unfortunately, that need to go out. Here, so we'll go to our stock servlet. The stock servlet will make the instance of stock. Oh no! Uh-oh. Oh, that's right. We broke it. What do we do here? Property price not found. Oh, it's current price. That's why. So our error here, there we go. Yeah, it's not too bad. The property price was not found in the stock class. In all of this like bean resolver cool things here. This JavaX expression language does some really cool things behind the scenes in process request here. Right, so the stack trace is kind of ugly, but it's current price. There we go. This is what I get for putting the wrong value in there. So this is just the JSP. So I should just be able to save and refresh. Here, I haven't changed the servlet. And here we go. Now we can get the symbol, name, and price out of a single stock. Now again, this is not super interesting yet, right? We're just working with a single object, but that's okay. We're still doing it, right? And it's working out okay. So that's the expression language. If we wanted to do it the slow way, right? We could totally fine doing it the slow way here. So I'm going to start a block here because we want to do our code like up at the top generally, and then we'll kind of separate all these things out. So I'm going to have a string for name will be my request dot, where do I get my request? Get attribute. Get attribute. Attribute. There we go. Get attribute of stock. And then I need to cast this as a stock object. Because I know it's a stock object, then I can call get name on that stock object. Oh, that's right. We add our imports here too. Oh man, where do we add our imports here? That's the ugly part here. Sorry. So we want to see, how do we do it in our footer code? Import. We have to add a page import here then. And we want stocks.stock. Right, stocks is the package, stock is the class. So say, hey, add an import here for this stocks.stock class. Then we can cast it as a stock, get the name back out. We can have a string for symbol. Same thing here, but get symbol. Get symbol. And actually that should come first, right? We should do symbol and then name and then current price. Right? And then a double for current price is stocks dot. Oops, I didn't need the whole line there. Get current price. Okay, now I have my variables that I can use here. Then I can do another table row with some table datas. And I'm just going to grab these ones here, if you don't mind. And then we'll have to, so this is with the expression language. We'll put a little note here. Java or JSP expression language syntax. Okay, and then this is going to be the I don't know, manual syntax. Is that fair? Manual. See code above, manual syntax plus C code above. And then for these, then we would do a code block again, equals the symbol. Do I have a string symbol? I spelled it wrong. Symbol. There we go. Symbol. Symbol. And then we could do name. And we could do price. Name and price. Okay, let's give that a run. So we should be able to get both sets of values out. They both work, but I think see why you would prefer this expression language. Oh, that's right. I could have just refreshed. Oh goodness, nope. 36. Oh, it's current price. That's right. I don't have price. It's current. I did it again, friends. I did it again. Stop using the word price. So it's just a JSP. I should be able to refresh, not the servlet, and we get the same values out. So you can see why one is probably a little nicer than the other, right? Obviously, this seems a little bit nicer here, and you can do it that way. And then there's also a way of using the Java standard template library tags. Here you can. So again, if we set up using that core, where did that one go? Our core. This is this one. Yeah, so we've got the core library already set up here. We can go and get those attributes back out as well here with the tags. And I gotta remember how we do that one again. Let's see, our tags. Where'd it go here? It's fine. Here we go, tags. So with the tags then, we can do essentially, let's do another table row. And our table row. Okay, and then we'll have some table data. Okay, let me just copy these three here. So we're going to do this with the JSTL tags, or tag syntax. Excuse me a second, I think I have to sneeze. Ooh, there we go. All right, so for the JSTL tags, now they actually have a pretty cool syntax here, but it gets a little bit funny here. But we want to say this is the JSP use bean. And we'll give it an ID of stock. And we'll say the scope is the request, because we added this to the request here. There's other scopes you can add, which is kind of interesting and funny and not, but this is request is pretty common. This is stock.stock is the class here. So we're going to use a bean here, and then inside of each of these, oh, what does it not like about my use bean? Remove surrounding tag. What's surrounding tag? No, I didn't want to do that. Why would I do that? I want the table row. That's weird. Okay, I thought that would be a helpful hint, but it was not a helpful hint. Now that I'm using the bean then, I can use these tags here, the JSP tag here, and I can say get property. The name of the property, I'm sorry, I'm getting it from the stock object, this ID of stock, and then the property that I want is the symbol. So you can use, essentially these are tags that you're adding here. So it's kind of a mix here. It's not built-in code. Yeah, Crow, you can do it by hand for sure. I don't recommend it here, but I want to show how all these work here. Current price. Okay, yeah, the frameworks kind of automate a lot of this stuff and make it easier for you here. What is it not like now? Invalid standard action. I'm using the bean. I'm using the bean. Why does it not like my bean? Use bean. Oh, user bean. That's right. Use bean. Okay, now it's a little happier here. Sorry. Package stocks dot stock. There we go. All right, if you spell things right, it works out a little better. So this is the JSTL tag syntax. Yeah, this was kind of cool, being able to do it this way, and still better than this way, I feel like, the slow way, right, or manual syntax. But the expression language definitely, I think, beats it all out. And if we just give it a refresh, all we did was change the JSP, we should be fine. And now we see we get 3 different versions here of that same data, 3 different ways of getting it. So one of the cool things about this, though, so if I were to go to stocks.jsp, I'm sorry, that's oh yeah, no, this is right. So at line 13, this crashes here. So at line 13, there is no attribute stock because we went right to the JSP, not to the servlet. So what we would probably want to do here instead, we'd want to make this stock object, which is probably better to do it this way anyway. We'd say, hey, I want a stock equals getting the attribute of a stock type here. I think then we can get rid of some of these parentheses. Okay. And then all of these ones here, now we actually want to wrap up inside of a different check here. So we'd have to say if stock does not equal null, do these things here. Right? Or actually, we could even leave, so once we have that stock there, we could even then go get that syntax here. Instead of symbol, it can be stock.getSymbol. Right? Now this is okay. And stock.getPrice. Get name. No, not instance of. Why? This type ahead's driving me crazy. And stock.getPrice. Get current price here. But if stock is null, right, we could say, hey, if stock equals null, then stock equals a new stock. Right, just give it a blank one here, essentially. We could do that this way. Right, let's give that a refresh. So now we took care of that error. Oh, duplicate local variable stock. Oh, shoot. Okay, we can't call it stock then if we already have a stock. Stock JSTL. Why not? Let's try that. Now we get null, and 0. Notice there's only 2, though. And we don't get all 3. Let's take a look at our page source here. Let's view the page source. The first one here is empty and is not even displayed. The second one and the third one are displayed here. Is that a new HTML viewer? I feel like that's new. This looks different, but that's okay. So with expression language, if it doesn't exist, you don't get nulls. You just get empty, which is nice because it won't crash, right? Before we had to add in that safety check here for the manual. The JSTL syntax, if it doesn't exist, oh shoot. No, it needs to be called stock. That one needs to be called stock. This one will change the name here. So stock attribute. How about that? Stock attribute. Sorry. Just to make sure it works here. Stock attribute. Oh goodness. Total server error. stock. Oh, that's right. I didn't change that. Let's put this back to stock. Okay. Put that back to stock. Okay. Now we still get the same behavior. This is good. This is what we want here. So the expression language just gives you blanks. So it's safe that if it's not there, it's not going to crash, which might do some weird things to your programs, though. The JSTL will, if it doesn't find one, will generate a new instance of the Java bean using that default constructor. So we'd get default. So if we wanted to, here in our stock class, in our default constructor, we could say symbol equals an empty string. Right? This is probably better, right? A constructor's job is to set values, set defaults here. Current price, come on, 0, right? Now if we refresh our page, we got to recompile this one, sorry. We'll get empty, empty, and 0 with the default constructor. So that's the servlet here. If we go to the JSP directly, we're going to get empty, empty, and 0. So we get the defaults from the constructor if the object can't be found. Where with the expression language, it's going to give you nothing. So that's kind of a big difference here. And most of the time, this is probably fine. I think not having to deal with any of that nonsense, and most of the time, the default values from the constructor are no good here. But we have to be careful. Right, so this is for the old syntax. For old syntax, or manual syntax, right? Syntax, see below. Right? Okay, so I can add in comments to inside of the Java blocks. That's probably ugly, but that's okay. I'm not too concerned. So just a couple more things to look at for this. So if we wanted to kind of expand this idea and do a little bit more, right? Because this is just one class here, right? Like this is not super useful at the moment, right? So what if we wanted to say, hey, how would we have a collection of stocks, right? And then how would we compare the stocks that we bought to the current price? So let's see if we can expand this a little bit. So let's add a new private double for the purchase price. Purchase price. Okay, and then we need to go, obviously go update a couple things here. So we'll say for the no argument constructor, our purchase price will be 0. That's fine. And then we can add in a double for purchase price. Purchase price. And then we'll say this purchase price equals the purchase price. Okay, and then we need to add the getters and setters. So we can do the insert code for that one here. Insert code, getters and setters for purchase price. We should be in good shape here. So we've added stuff to it here. Now our stock here for GameStop is going to be upset. So let's say, hey, let's pretend we bought at that peak here at the height and bought it for $300 for the purchase price here. Okay, we need to go update our view as well. And now we'll have this is the current price. And then we can add a purchase price. Right? And then because this is a class, right, it can do other things. This was just the minimum to be a Java bean. We can have a public double get net gain or a change in price, or you get what do we want to call this one here? How about net get what the purchase price minus the current price, or no, the current price minus the purchase price, right? Get value, maybe. I don't know if that makes any sense. We'll try it here. So we're going to say the current price will return the current price minus the purchase price. So if we bought it for less than it's worth, this will be positive. If we bought it for more than it's currently worth, it'll be negative here. So we can add in then to our list here, we can have the current price, the purchase price, and we can have the, I don't know, what do we call that? The value here. So we can just add in more attributes. Nope, no comments. Current price, purchase price, and what do we call that? The value, get value, is that what we call that one? get value. Value here. Add in 2 more here for get purchase price and get value here. And then 2 more with our bean here. TD. Yeah, we'll just copy paste. Why am I not doing that? We want purchase price. And then we want value. Okay, let's give that a run. Oh, here's our page here. It's on my other monitor, sorry. Give me a second. All right, we'll go to our stock servlet. Let's pin that again. And we're getting the value out. So notice we don't actually have a actual attribute for value, right? We have a get value. So this convention, if it follows the naming convention of get and then an attribute name, we can go get that attribute back out. Right? It's calling the get value method. So it works with the expression language and it works with the JSTL. And obviously we'll work with the manual because we have a method for it here. But this will call a method named get value. Right? This will call a method named get value. So that method exists. We're in good shape for this here. So we can add additional function features and functionality to our class here. So now what we want to do, right, we can have a collection of these things here, right? So if I, instead of just having a single stock now, right, if I wanted to have multiple stocks, right, we could, instead of having a single stock attribute here, we could have a collection of stocks if we wanted, right? So we could have an array list of type stock, we'll call stocks, equals a new array list. Nope, array list. Oh my goodness, come on, friend. Array list. Here, oh, we got to add the import, that's why. Yes, please import java.util.arraylist. Here. So then I could have a list of stocks, and I can take my stocks.add the stock, and then I could take my stocks.add, what else? Oh my goodness, that was not, no, undo. Stocks.add a new stock. And what other stock would be interesting here? What else should we look at here? What other stocks are interesting to you folks here? What else should we add? What else was a big one here that people were talking about? Can you remember the other meme stocks? AMC, yes, thank you. Stock, thank you, AMC. I don't know why that wasn't on my head here. So AMC now is $20 a share. If we look at like a year ago here, they were up to 32 or so. Let's see, the 5-year mark, it might be a little harder to see, but yeah, they spiked. They hit 50 something, right? After being relatively low. You see a lot of activity in January time, right? But then they came back relatively well later in the year. So not quite as big of a difference as GameStop. So let's say we bought this one for like $3.35 a share. I guess it's gone down quite a bit, or was down quite a bit, right? So if we bought it before all this nonsense happened at $3.35 a share, this is AMC. What is their name here again? They are AMC Entertainment Holdings. Sure, AMC Entertainment Holdings. Sure. And if we bought it for $3.50 a share, now the current price is 20.21. Right, we can add a stock here. Sure, why not? Add that to our stocks collection. Right, can do that. Any other meme stocks you want to look at? Or I think 2 is probably enough for now. Here. So then we're going to do, oh my goodness, we're going to do that same thing. We're going to set an attribute here. Now of the stocks collection here, our stocks array list here, and then in our stocks view, again, let's just look at one syntax here. So we could do the manual, right? We can go and get out the stocks array list, and then we can loop through it here. But I want to show you with the expression language. There's a little shortcut for us here. We're going to combine the expression language with the tags. So using our JSTL tags, we can combine some expression language here, which is pretty sweet. So we're going to say C, that's our C tag, and we're going to do a for each loop. So for each says, well, what do we want to call each one of these things? So I'm going to call it, because I want to use a different variable name for it. So I'm going to call it stock in list, just to make sure I don't like call something stock that already is stock here. And then the items we're going to get from the $stocks attribute that's in the request. So for each of those, then we're going to do a table row with a bunch of table data. And we want these ones here using this expression language syntax. Now, the individual item is going to be called stock in list for each item in the stocks collection. So we should be able to get a duplicate here if we did this right, because we added the other stock here. So let's just add a table row here. I don't want to add anything, I guess. That's fine. So we should get GameStop 3 times, and then a 4th time for this one, and then AMC, if we did it right. Let's see what we get. We get it the 4th time, and then we get AMC. Uh-oh, so this is, we're backwards here. I wanted current price to be 20 and purchase. So we wanted to make money on this one. So we'll say 20.2 is the current price. And if we bought it for $3.50 here back in 2020, right, then we're going to make some money off of it. GameStop, not so much, right? But the AMC stock, we'll pretend we made money here. Right? So we can use this little for each loop in that tag here, then to kind of iterate over a collection of items, okay?